Up on the roof, back in the dunes, you caught me in the half-life.
Cool, welcome to Lloyd's Audio. I'm Lloyd, and today I have a special guest. He's like pretty much one of the 90s alt legend guitarists of Australia and Brisbane. So Tim Stewart of Screamfeeder and We All Want To.
How's it going?
Nice to meet you, man.
Yes,
Thanks for coming in.
No worries.
So, question I'm going to ask you is, how did you get into guitar and music? What got you into it?
So when I was a kid at school in England, I was about 8 or 9, and my mum and dad just suddenly told me, oh, you're having guitar lessons now.
Oh, really?
So I was like, okay, no objections there. I got a little nylon string guitar, which I still got.
That's awesome.
And so the guitar lesson was like a bunch of probably, 10 kids on nylon string guitars, all slightly out of tune from each other. And this poor, long-suffering guitar teacher called Mr. Earl, who was a great guitarist, and apparently he was some sort of semi-famous session guitarist or something.
That's pretty
So
cool.
he'd teach us week after week, and we'd get, substitute. And just like learn stuff like that, and it was like, oh my god, this is amazing! And just like fell in love with it straight away.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
So when did you progress to electric guitar from like nylon?
Well, the thing was that when I went to secondary school, that guitar teacher kind of came to that school as well.
Oh, awesome.
And on the last day of term, he'd always bring this electric guitar, and we'd all fuck around like getting feedback, and we'd be like, oh my god, this is amazing! And we'd stand there going, ee! And that was what sort of made me fall in love with it. But plus at the time I was getting into heaps of punk music, which is all obviously electric guitar.
Yeah.
Real brash, like bad tone, just rubbish kind of sound. But
overdriven
really
madness.
Yeah. And so when I was like 20, I bought an electric guitar off my friend and started my first band then. And
that's awesome.
My first electric, and it was like cheap Les Paul copy kind of thing.
Yeah, sick. So is that so when like your parents got you into music, like again, this is what you're gonna do, this is a guitar.
Yeah.
Like is your whole family musical or?
Yeah, my dad, his job in life always was clarinets. Like he played the clarinet, taught it, and his job was like repairing and making clarinets. So he was heavily into that side of the music. Awesome. My mum was like a singer, and she played a bit of piano, and she was in a choir and stuff like that. So she was pretty musical as well, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So like wanted you to carry on the torch kind of thing.
Well, I think it was maybe I don't know if it was like you're going to go on a musical path, but it was more like, oh, here's just something you can do, just keep you out of trouble or whatever.
Yeah, true. So so when you're saying you got your first electric and started your band when you're like 20, is that when you moved to Australia from England?
Well, I was actually moved here already as a kid, but when I moved back in when I was left school at 18 for 9 months, and that was the period during which I bought that guitar off my friend and brought it back to Australia and started my band there.
Yeah, sweet. So like you're saying you're into punk, like what kind of bands like were you into at the time?
Well, in the 80s it was all like the sort of first wave and second wave English stuff like Pistols and the Clash, but then like Discharge, Crass, Subhumans, plus the American stuff, Dead Kennedys, Husker all that kind of stuff as well. So when I started the band in 87, I was still really totally influenced by that stuff.
Yeah, like, so what do you prefer? Like, do you prefer the English punk at the time, or do you like more American kind of punk?
I love it all, actually.
Yeah.
But Husker Du was the big one that really opened the door for me as far as guitar, because they were the first punk band who actually paid attention to their tone and played real cool chords and really made the guitar a beautiful feature in the music, actually.
Yeah, that's something with punk music. Like, I was introduced to Sex Pistols by my father, and he was like all about them. And like, he hated the Clash because he thought the Clash was way too like production and made up. And I was like, well, Sex Pistols are kind of the same thing.
Oh yeah.
But then like, I was way into that for ages, and then like, I got into the Stooges, Iggy Pop and Stooges. Yeah, that pretty much like opened my mind from there, man. I was like, that's what punk should sound like. Like Sex Pistols are cool, but like that's raw.
It should
like
sound
that's
rough and
just
raw,
straight up Marshall fuzz,
it.
crank the shit up, fucking go ape shit. You know, like yeah, that's awesome, man. So like, so with your first band, obviously that wasn't Screamfeeder, that was
So the very first band title was called the Psycho Skate Smurfs on Smack. Pretty stupid name, but that lasted like 2 weeks or whatever, and then became the Lethal Injections.
Okay.
Which is the name our bass player thought up. And then that changed to the Madmen.
Yeah, okay.
And then we put out a couple of records under that band name, and then changed to Screamfeeder when we moved to Brisbane.
Yeah, okay. So at that time, for the other band forms, you were in Townsville, is that correct? Yeah, yeah. Damn, that would be interesting back then, man.
And it was so weird because like no one in Townsville had really heard that specific kind of
real,
you know,
like crazy punk,
And so like everyone was a bit like, what the fuck is this?
So you obviously played gigs and stuff for that band as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the other bands were really into like more the Aussie thing, like the Hoodoo Gurus, the Saints, that kind of more rock and roll-y kind of style.
Yeah.
And so we're a bit odd.
Yeah, that went way different from back then, man.
Yeah.
So so when did you move down to Brizzy then?
So moved down in '89.
'89, okay.
Yeah.
And that's when Screamfeeder kicked off.
Well, we continued to be the Madmen, and we met Kelly, and she joined the band, and I think it was like maybe very early 1990 we started sending demos out to record labels, and a label in Sydney said to us, we'll put out the record, but you've got to change the name. And so we're like, yeah, okay, fair enough. You know? And God knows why we came out with Screamfeeder. It's like the most weird name, but you know.
It's cool, it's catchy. Like, it takes a little while to get your tongue around it when you start off.
Yeah, if you look it up on the internet now, it's like pretty easy to find and stuff. So, you know.
Yeah, I guess like people say it wrong too a lot of the time. So.
Yeah.
That's sweet. So like, so Kelly came along, and then you just like got a new drummer, and that's when. So when you went from punk, what made you go from like punk to like alt rock kind of? I guess early days of Screamfeeder was like grungy a little bit?
Around the late 80s, I just really made the move out of, like, across the bands like Smith and Juicy Mary Chain.
Yeah, okay.
And so, like, they used, you know, guitar sounds differently and melody differently, and it was more about songwriting.
Yeah, okay.
And I kind of just fell in love with songwriting, even though I was shit at it for years.
Yeah.
Like, I just fell in love with songwriting at that point and just thought, there's a mystery I can delve into, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess, like, it's like going from punk to like actually doing songwriting and focusing on your like structure and the way you sing
melodies
and stuff like
basically.
that.
Because like I grew up listening to like Beals and mega great melodic stuff. Yeah,
which is always a challenge to try and be like that.
Yeah,
but, you try.
But it gets you hooked. So like you can never not enjoy that kind of thing.
What's your favorite Beals album?
Sgt. Pepper's.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that was like one of the first albums I got listened into. Like my father gave me that. Mine's the White Album, and recently Abbey Road. It took me a while to get into Abbey Road.
Yeah, I haven't really explored Abbey Road too much, to be honest.
It's crazy because it's just them, making different songs and just putting them together.
Yeah.
Like they're not working together, and it's ever since the White Album, they just didn't hang out. They hated each other very much. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a cool album. It took me a little while to get into though. It's not as good as like White Album's great because it's that whole punk mad, like almost punky kind of rock, like craziness. But yeah, sweet. So like So Screamfeeder went for a while, and then so the label put you on. Like, what happened from there? Like,
well, what happened was that it was the early '90s, and it was like it started going crazy. So like, we started touring heaps, and we toured probably for like, maybe best part of 10 years straight. And then the industry started changing. People got a bit bored. Like the generational shift happened a little. Yeah. And things started getting much tougher. And we'd go out on tour, and the numbers would be down, and we'd come back a little disappointed. Yeah,
I was going to ask that because, like I said, like your earlier stuff, like it's not. I hate to say the word grunge. I think grunge is a bit of a weird word to use in this kind of context, but it is a little bit like the suits the era you came out in. Like when that all died out, like you would have been like, did you decide to change your sound like a lot of other bands? Like did you kind of clean up a bit or try different things or?
It wasn't something we said, okay, let's do something different. Yeah. Well, it wasn't a sound that we said, we should go for a different sound.
Go for that, yeah.
But we always like to work with different people recording the album and they approached it very differently. So we end up with a different sounding record each time. Yeah, cool. Sometimes that went well, sometimes it didn't, but we thought it was always nice to keep moving.
Yeah, I guess like your influences would have changed a bit as well, like music-wise and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm talking of influence, so I always like to ask guitarists this because sometimes they keep it a secret and sometimes they don't. But who's your biggest influence, like guitar-wise or even songwriter-wise?
It's really probably like a combination of Bob Mould because because we were a three-piece for so long. Yeah. My aim was always like I had unlimited space to fill, so I'd always play open chords, drony chords. I love that spiky kind of sound. And I love his just approach. You know, like tons of open chords moving real fast.
Yeah, constantly.
And
building,
as far as like lead guitar, like I've never really learned any lead guitar apart from listening to like things like Mick Jones from The Clash. Like his lead guitar is just, you know, like
simple, nice stuff. Yeah,
stuff like that. So it's like I can do that. You know?
yeah.
So yeah, just what else?
But obviously, like, coming from a songwriter point of view, I guess, like, lead, you're more focused on, like, chordals and singing and stuff like that.
And so as far as the guitar influences, you know, heaps of things, and then, like, even like Johnny Marr, of course, stuff like that. It's great, because it's just mega melodic, real clever.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably not a guitarist alive who isn't touched by someone like that, you know?
Yeah, it's true. I think, like, every guitarist, like, starts off on all rock stuff, and then someone gives you the Smiths, and you're like, oh, wow, that's how you play a clean guitar? Why can't I sound like that? And I'm constantly chasing that, like, delays and reverbs, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Smiths have definitely been a big part of my life.
And you see him playing live on footage and stuff, and he's just plugged straight into the amp.
Yeah.
And they're playing really fast, and he's just like, he's got sunnies on, he's just standing there.
Even when you see him in the studio, he's just like shredding, and you're like, what are you doing, man? Like, there's like dough in the mouth, like, tipping everywhere. It's like, man, that was awesome. So, so like, I guess my question for you is, seeing you being in the music industry for a while, like, how do you feel about the change? Because at the time you guys came out where, like, my band personally, and I know other people are jealous of that time because we came out later, obviously. Yep. To me, the 90s, like, I wish I had a time machine and I could just be in that era, like, you know, because like you guys were on TV, Recovery.
Well, we were lucky, like, you know, you can be lucky these days. Like, so like the playing field's really different, like with digital and whatever. Yeah. But we were super lucky, and we got a bunch of lucky breaks because there were a lot of bands sucking eggs in the 90s, not getting anywhere, you know. Yeah, true. But yeah, I guess it does feel in retrospect like the like in the nowadays you've got like millions of times more people you're competing against. Yeah, it's like the online streaming thing is like, because like I said, like you don't really sell CDs anymore, it's non-existent, like vinyl's hard to sell, like streaming, people listen to it, but it's like half an hour at a time in the car, you know what I mean? If you're a drop in like this huge ocean.
And they pick what songs they like out of the album and put it on the playlist instead of listening to the album. Like when I was a kid, I'd listen to the whole album. Yeah, again and again, a million times. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I guess like, even me, I feel like I'm behind in a wrong generation in general. I do too. Like it should be somewhere else. But, but I just always wondered, because I was watching like you guys on Recovery the other day, and I was like, fuck, that would have been cool. Like that would have been so cool, man. Like, I know we got it kind of, but don't really have anything like that anymore. Like, but I heard they're bringing it back, Like,
yeah, I did too, actually.
But yeah, no, definitely. I just want to know, what the change was like. And the other question I have is like, obviously you guys had a reputation back in the 90s and like, early 2000s up till now kind of thing. But like, what's media like for you now? Like social medias and like Instagram and Facebook, does that like bother you? You had to like start again and like try and get fan base again? No, we've been lucky actually. Yeah. I think it's just lucky time and place for us because like when the internet started, I was already training up in web stuff. So I was always like on it a little bit more. Yeah. But as far as social media, it's funny because like, we find that because of a lot of our fans are our age, and they're not all our age, but a lot are in their sort of 40s or whatever. Well, you have that reputation as well. Yeah. But they're all over social media as well, and it's kind of like almost too easy for us in a way in that regard. Yeah. Because they all operate on it the same way we do, just casually, but it kind of really works for us actually. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember like so I forget who, I think like Bud and some other people, I was talking to them like. They've been around for a little while, and like just their Facebook going from like big to like nothing, kind of like. Right. I know it sounds mean, but like how like today's age, like the gigs rely on Facebook's popularity, how many fans you got, and all that sort of stuff. Like I was wondering how old bands kind of like adapt to that, but I guess you got reputation, so. Yeah, I guess we worked really hard at it too. Yeah, like, exactly. Yeah. We used to sit there doing MySpace, adding fucking people on MySpace all night, whatever, all that shit. So. Yeah, we just kind of kept abreast of it and I had to keep working on it. Yeah, like I'm really slow to Instagram, like I still don't really know how to use Instagram very well, but our Instagram's got alright, it's got people on it and they're liking shit and whatever. Keep adding stuff all the time, it's constantly going. Yeah, I'm real bad at that. See, like with my band, I'm just terrible at that stuff. Like I kind of get behind a little bit, but I should probably go forward, but just find it hard, like I just want to play gigs. I know. Music and release albums, you know what I mean? Like, But that's sweet. So Screamfeeder obviously like you're well known for. But I think you're like I kind of know you. I knew about Screamfeeder, but I saw you live and performing with We All Want To.
Uh-huh.
So how did that come about? Like that was like obviously a complete change to like.
Yeah, so Screamfeeder took a break because Dean, our drummer, decided he had enough, and he went overseas for a while. And Kelly and I were at that point. Yeah, okay, we've had enough too for now.
Yeah.
And so Kelly formed a couple of bands, and I formed a couple of bands, and We All Want To as one of them. And well, it actually came out of my solo album actually.
Yeah, as I said,
so I did a solo album in the early noughties, and the band I put together eventually became We All Want To.
Yeah.
And it just got legs, and we started getting a few records out, and changed members a few times, and did a little bit of touring, lost a heap of money, had fun, you know. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I guess that would have been cool, like starting again as well. I guess like
it was interesting starting again in so many ways. Like
in different
for
genres
me, like
as well,
playing with different people was like whoa. Because when you play with so many, like two people for like a decade and a half, you just take it for granted that that's how it works, and you never think about it.
Yeah. And
then you're with other people in the practice room, and you're going, yeah, dude, it just goes like that, and they're like, huh? And you're like, what do you mean? Like how can, so it was pretty brain frying actually.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was I kind of had this naive assumption that Screamfeeder fans would all jump on board.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, well, it is a different sound, man.
Yeah.
Like it is like I said, I think I started off with Screamfeeder, and then when I moved to Brisbane, I saw you play with We All Want To, and I was like, I never knew you had this thing going on. And I started listening to that.
Yeah.
Like, I do love We All Want To. Like, it's great. Like, it's a totally different approach.
Yeah.
I feel like the guitarist you got is real good. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but
Aaron.
Just watching him live, like just this crazy stuff, and even just like like Sky and stuff, like her vocal range, like it is different. I can imagine like fans being like, well, what's going on here? But
yeah, I think it was confusing for people actually.
But it's also a good thing, though. You don't want to keep doing the same thing. You want to mix it up.
And I think if I started sitting around doing nothing, it would be like I'd just
drive yourself insane.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Because I guess music's pretty much been like your main thing, your most of your life, really.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah. It's been treating you well, I guess. So are you going to do any other kind of solo stuff yourself, or you're going to stick with We All Want To?
I've been toying with the idea, but the thing with solo stuff is there's no one pushing you to do it, so you've got to actually push yourself, which is pretty, you've got to get a lot of inspiration, and you've got to be really motivated and really disciplined actually about it. Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to move towards that. I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm edging towards it.
Yeah. So you're talking about how with We All Want To is a bit weird working with other people. Obviously with Screamfeeder you worked with Lloyd for years.
Yeah.
And so you guys always written together?
No, we've almost always written apart, but there's been periods where we've all three of us have written together in the room.
Yeah.
So I mean, probably 75% of Screamfeeder songs are ones that either me or Kel has brought in, and the other guys have just learned.
Yeah.
But the others, things like Dart, that's an obvious song where we've jammed it, and it's been a real collaborative effort. And it's been great for that reason, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of do that. Me and my partner Beck from Bear Hunt, she writes songs, I write songs, bring it to the band, everyone adds their flair to it. I think it works, but then like I said, have you ever tried to just let everyone else kind of do something? You're going, all right, we're going to write this whole album together, I'm just going to write it with you guys.
I'm not super precious about my songs anymore like I used to be, but if someone's got an idea, it usually comes in, and I'm not going to be no often, not occasionally, but I like having other people inputs because it's almost always things I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, I was finding
because I've written so many songs that they kind of all sound the same these days,
Yeah,
so it's good to have other people's influence in there.
Yeah. So so with obviously you and Kelly were the main writers. So when Derek joined the band in 2000, what was that like working with another guitarist?
Well, at that point he was literally the guy that he would listen to the record and go, okay, I've got to play this part. So it's weird for me, especially in Screamfeeder, because as I said, I was the guy filling up all the noise with guitar, so I've kind of got to cut that in half now.
Yeah, true.
But it's actually great now because it takes a whole load off, and I can concentrate on my singing more and just play the most rudimentary rhythm guitar and sing, and he does all the complicated
stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's sweet. So I was gonna say so you were saying you're into bands that start off with weird tunings as well. Did you get into that whole thing?
I think the only one that was at the time was maybe Sonic Youth, but their tunings were, off the scale weird.
Have you ever tried some of them?
I think maybe, a little, and Swerve Driver as well. They had some tunings, and I just got bored with the standard sounds of chords, and I was like, oh man, I can't sit there and write a song using C, D, and A. It's just like
gets boring, And
so I just invented a tuning and would sit there, and all of a sudden a door would open, and I could walk into a room and write a dozen songs that I would never have written if I hadn't discovered that tuning.
Yeah, see, I've given it a go. Like I'm a big Sonic Youth fan, and also a Soundgarden fan, and like I've got like a booklet with 2 pages that's full of different tunings, and I've tried them all, and like you're right, like as soon as you do it, you're like, whoa, like I can do some crazy stuff now, and then like you put a delay on it, just makes it even weirder. I always find the trouble is like bringing that to a band.
Right.
Like I always feel like everyone I work with, they kind of like they're not quite as open-minded, or quite, like how did you deal with that when you brought in like a tuning?
Well, I was the only one having to play in tuning, so. And usually the thing about the songs that I'd end up writing was the fact they end up being D, A and G songs anyway. So it's like just in different tunings to give my brain a bit of something to latch onto. And so it's no big deal. Yeah, everyone was fine with it.
Yeah.
But the problem is that over the years I've actually got some songs which I listen back to and go, I don't remember the tuning and I don't remember the chords I made up for it. So that song is dead forever. Yeah. Or I can remember the tuning but not the chords, or I can remember the shapes but not the tuning. So it's like, fuck. I never wrote nothing down.
Yeah. Were you playing that like weird tuning, which is that it's like looked up on I actually found this on your Instagram. It was
double A tuning.
Yeah, you did let's tune up. Yeah, you did that like where you dropped raise the G to an A, and then you drop the B to an A.
Yeah.
So you got that like syncopated kind of, and then the E.
This one I prepared earlier.
Yeah. I wish I had one, but so yeah, you got the whole.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's like, it's nice because I've only ever like experimented in like those kind of tunings. Like Soundgarden got one that's like D, G, C sharp. F, and like you do that. Yeah, it's like they just make them up.
Yeah.
Like same with like Sonic Youth. Like they got a lot of same kind of like, so you can do that whole.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. It's like, I like it. Like what is that like a tuning you use regularly?
I use it heaps. Like we've got probably 20 songs written in that tuning, and the thing about it is like all the songs end up being in A. But this kind of doesn't matter, and you can just make up great shapes, and it just opens up the guitar. And plus, you've got that drone, it gives it some extra twinkle, and it's just it's just a slightly different flavour. It just really speaks to me somehow.
So do you use that in both your bands, or do you use that just in Screamfeeder?
This is just Screamfeeder, actually.
Yeah,
I think.
cool.
Yeah.
What's your biggest songs on that one again?
So there's Dart, which is like. That's awesome. Stop list. It's mega simple. There's like that awesome, 1444 song, which is like. And the statics, like
That's awesome. So you go real crazy with that tuning.
Yeah, it's really easy actually. Yeah. I've got a different tuning that I use in Wheel 1 2, which is like more of a B orientated tuning.
Okay,
Yeah.
What's that? Is that
that
like,
is
tune it.
E A B F sharp B E.
Okay, that's cool.
It's a nice one, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like I've tried like, because PG Harvey does the same thing. She's got this open D, which is like D A D D B E. D at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's just like massive B chords.
Excellent. Yeah.
And like I think like Dry, the album.
That's
in that tuning.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I feel like most guitarists should experiment with it. No one, like I hate when you meet people who just don't, and you're just like, man, just even if you don't use them, it just gives you that, opens your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
I think like, well, I don't know if it's the same with you. What I discovered is like, when I play alternate tunings, it makes me approach the guitar in an extremely different way, to the point when I go back to E standard.
Yeah.
It opens my mind where I can like do stretch chords and like I understand the fretboard and
yeah, and it kind of throws majors and minors around a little bit.
Yeah,
like you got to kind of go, fuck, is that a major or minor? I have no idea, things
I never
like that.
Spent like, I think spent like a whole like 2 weeks of just playing one tuning, and I remember like I had to go back to Bear Hunt and play a show and we didn't
wow.
practice. And I was like, put it in here. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh man, like I was like, yeah, definitely trying to find how to play normal guitar again. I guess normal. I guess is the word, but yeah, no, that's cool, man. Like it's sweet to hear you play emo just in person too. Like not on the stage, like actually like that's cool as man. Yeah, so I guess like talking to gear, man. Like you got some pretty nice pedals and some old school looking rig, which is sweet. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I try and keep things really basic because I'm just not very good at gear in general. So it's basically a few different distortions and one delay and a couple of boosts, and that's it. Yeah.
See, so what's the plan? Like when you set it up, you're obviously going from that way, and you just directly go from that way for the chain.
So that's never usually on my thing. Like I just put that on there because that was my first distortion pedal, the MXR Distortion Plus from like, you know, like I used that all the way through the early 90s. It's that
because I guess you don't really have
kind of sound, you know.
Yeah, I guess because you never really have like a fuzz like tone. You kind of have more that like nasty, gnarly distortion.
Yeah, it's
sound.
more like what is it? Triangular waves.
Like a fuzz face, but kind of pumped. Yeah, because I'm all about fuzz. Like I like it when I meet someone who actually uses distortion, because like I don't do it.
Yeah, every time I use fuzz, I guess I haven't ventured far enough into it to find a great pedal that gives me the tone I want.
We'll go shopping one day, mate.
Yeah, but sometimes I split it and like run 2 amps, and so I'll run the Black Secret into one.
Oh, awesome!
And the Big Muff clone into another. So I've got the fuzz on one side, and so I've got cover all bases. You know.
Yeah, cool.
Which is pretty nice. So yeah, the Moore Black Secret's just such a great like the bass level distortion.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice. Fills up a lot of space.
Yeah.
And the Box of Rock is like a bit more halfway, kind of mellow.
That's awesome.
It's not sounding good, is it? But I use that Box of Rock as my main kind of clean boost as well. Like, just I need to lift up a notch, you know, and the delay.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Really basic, like 3 knobs.
Yeah, reminds me of like the Ibanez.
It's the clone of that.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, it is.
It's an Axon. Yeah.
We used one in the studio when we recorded Rocks on the Soul, our album, and kind of fell in love with it, like doing all the...
Yeah, it's real good for that. It's like pretty much basic.
Grabs it.
Nice delay, simple as.
Yeah, so that's really it. Just distortion. That's another dirty boost, like a homemade pedal. A friend of ours in France made that one.
Yeah, and that's for like your, for Screamfeeder or just for you in general, yeah?
He made a run of those as a giveaway for, as a pre-order item for our last album, actually.
Yeah, that's
what
what
5 or something like that. And it's just a big, fat, ugly kind of drive. It's just really, you know, it goes mega loud, like.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's like a fat Marshall. It makes your Fender sound like a Marshall pretty much.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So that's it. Like, really, I'm distortion, boost, delay. I'm super simple.
Yeah, so you're just like, pretty much just more like dirt boxes than anything else.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to ask, man, is that you got the delay after you got your distortions and boosts. And then you got like, obviously, your overdrive after the delay.
Yeah.
What made you put it there? I know there's no rules to guitar.
Because I just felt that having the overdrive last was the best place for it. I just guessed. I don't know.
It works
I don't know about any rules with that stuff. I know that if you have the distortion pre the delay, obviously you're delaying the distorted signal. So it's like you're going to get more juice out of it like that. Yeah.
No, there's no rules to it.
It's just
at all,
guesswork,
man.
I suppose.
Yeah, it's whatever works here.
Yeah.
Can I hear the delay and then the last overdrive?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Because it works like, because I'm used to having like all my delays at the end.
Yeah.
And then like, so all this hits that. Yeah. And then I got like the volume pedal in between just to kind of
that's good.
clean it up a bit. But I just
I'm not ever able to really spend any time working the board. I have to just look down from singing and hit something real quick.
Yeah, just easy right there, your feet kind of thing.
And I kick it around a lot too, so it's got to be just simple and robust, you know.
Yeah, man, that's definitely it's been beaten up a fair bit.
Yeah, and I had to like cut it down like 2 inches or something recently because I bought a different case. It's a little shorter, but it's really a strong case. So yeah, I had to just chop it off a little.
Yeah, I started off that big and then went.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I hate how big I got.
So now, obviously, like if I want to run 6 pedals, I've got to sit one off the end, which is stupid and impractical. But you know.
Yeah, it works, man. Like if I guess like for flying, it's a lot easier. Like you wouldn't have to be carry big ass case.
Yeah.
So guitar-wise, I guess like that's what we'll talk about next. So these are your 2 main ones, eh?
This one I've had since maybe 2003.
Yep.
We went to America and Dazza bought this in New York.
Yep.
And then he brought it back and he kind of like just ended up not using it.
Yeah.
And I needed a second guitar at the point and just grabbed it off him. So that just became mine by default.
Yeah, that's just an American Standard Tele?
Yeah, it's like a 98 model or 97 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the other one, that's a 1978 model.
Oh, this is like legit vintage. I picked this one up one day when I did live sound for you guys.
Right, okay.
I didn't tell you that, but I played around for a little bit and I was like, it's nice. It's very
nice, yeah.
Yeah, it's like definitely had its fair share of being bad.
I've treated it so bad, like I can't believe actually the amount of...
mix it yours.
Like the neck's a bit fucked up and whatever, so at some point I'll have to actually get the neck fixed because it's pretty, like it's lost a lot of varnish and stuff.
All red.
Yeah. I've had the frets redone once, I think, from memory.
Yeah.
The back of the neck's a bit rough as well.
Yeah, you get the whole check of that. Man, it makes it yours, man. It still works. Like, at least it's not snapped or broken or anything.
No, it's survived pretty well, actually, I've got to say.
And
I had the switch taken out of there and put there.
Yeah, just for easier use.
And that's about it. I put the new things on, the new, whatever you call them things, saddles. Yeah. And I got this in '94, I believe.
Oh, okay. So you've had it. You played that Recovery, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's ancient.
But I go in and out of phases of liking it and not liking it because it's like the mid-range hump's so big in it. Yeah. But it's usually great, and then I play it, and often if I play it in Wheel 1-2, I'm like, oh, it's too much, it's too brash, and like, I need something a bit softer in Wheel 1-2, a bit more out of the way, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I might go towards that a bit more.
Okay, so like, so what made you go for tellies? Like, have you tried any other guitars?
Well, actually, have you ever heard of Not From There, that band Not From There?
No.
90s Brisbane band, really great.
I want to check it out, yeah.
And the singer Hines had one of these, but, and I always used to guitar tech for him and hang out with him, and his one is actually mega awesome, like 20 times as good as this. It sounds fantastic. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think I didn't even have a guitar at the time because I'd broken it or something like that, but, so I used to borrow his guitar for gigs.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, dude, if you ever see one, can you let me know? I want to buy one exactly the same. And he was like, I found one at the Gold Coast, it's $1,300. I'm like, get it. And he grabbed it for me, and that was it. It sort of just happened. Just random, yeah. Because as I grew up, like, when I was in the early 90s and the 80s, I wasn't really even aware that there was different kinds of pickups or whatever. I was completely oblivious to all that.
I was the same, man. When I was younger, like, I was just all about, like, if it wasn't a humbucker, I wasn't interested.
Really?
Like, it was like Gibson and stuff. I thought Fender was kind of for, like, old dudes and like
Dire Straits.
Like blues and shit. I'm like, that's not what I want to do. I want to do like this. And then I think it's only when I moved to Brisbane, man, I just like picked up a telly one day and I was like, I want this. Yeah. Oh, I started on the Jag, but even now I put a humbucker in it. Okay. It's only this year, I've only started playing telly with single coils. All about them. Like,
that's a pretty nice one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is like cheapy Mexican one, man.
Oh wow, okay.
I like it. But it's just the single coil sound, man. Like, it just sounds like nothing else. You know what I mean?
It's great.
Like,
and you can make it sound really massive. Yeah. And, even bands in the 90s, like Bitch Magnet, there's this kind of like really tough sounding band. They're really like slow, heavy. And I was like, fuck, that guitar sounds amazing. And I said to our engineer, what's he using? And he went, telly. I was like, what? Yeah, it was amazing.
I kind of always get annoyed when Fender do like, they release new guitars and they always get like some metalhead playing the Telecaster, like, this can do this as well. It's like, of course it can. It's a guitar, like, it can do anything. They always try and make it like it can do that. It's like, well, it already does, man, so it's all good. Yeah, that's awesome that you got two. So, like, have you ever played it, obviously, like, before you got this one, what were you playing?
I had a Music Man
Okay.
with the active pickups before
Yeah.
this, which is pretty good.
That would be interesting.
Loud and fat.
Yeah.
And then before that, I had a Strat.
Yep.
And before that, it was the old Les Paul copy.
Yeah.
Cheap £20 guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Sweet.
So I haven't had too many, but yeah.
Brisbane would have been interesting. That would have been a different
It
kind
was
of
good, yeah.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it suited that early 90s, like big bottom end kind of thing. Yeah, a lot. But my kid's got one of those J Mascis Jazz.
Yeah, dude, they're so good.
They're amazing.
Yeah, like so good. And they got that good now, the prices have gone up ridiculous on them.
Right, okay.
Like, it's even getting second hand now, it's like $700 again, brand new is like, it's like close to 900.
Wow.
I bought mine and it was like 700 when it first came out. And yeah, they're so good. Like
really
guitars these days, I think like, yeah, like I said, like this is a Mexican. I think if you just mod a guitar and do what you want to do to it, you just make it work, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was gonna ask. Have you modded anything on that one?
No, that's just straight up.
That's so good, man.
But that guitar as well, I sort of fall in and out of favour with, because after playing this, I pop that on for a song and the middle range kind of goes away again. So like I'm sort of stuck in this middle ground between the two but you know, I don't spend hours fretting over it or anything.
You ever thought about putting like a single coil in the bridge of that one and using that, just keeping it where it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's really, I'd say like Tellys are pretty much workhorses, eh?
Yeah,
the
they
same
are.
touch,
Yeah,
man. They
that's
just do what
right.
they do. If it works
Yeah.
for Keith Richards, man, it works for everyone else. You know what I mean? Like, even the boss.
Yeah, that's it. And Joe Strummer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, he's like straight up that, pretty much. So yeah, amp-wise though, like you got a Fender Deluxe there.
Yeah, I got that about maybe, actually it was probably about 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah, cool.
Because I was after something small and it's really light. It's got an Alnico speaker in it, so it's really light.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sweet.
I hurt my back in the 90s and I couldn't lug any gear for ages.
Yeah.
My bandmates had to always lift my shit at every gig. And so that one's really nice and light. It's like under 20 kilos, really handy.
That's great.
And in wheel 1, 2, I needed a quiet amp.
Yeah.
Even though it's still fairly loud, but I'm still searching for that small, quiet amp that does everything I need it to. But
yeah, I found one the other day. I played a gig because I'm not really a big fan of the Fenders. I do like you sound real good from them. They just don't work for me. But I played a gig and it was a Fender Junior's Blues Junior.
Oh, they're good.
Dude, it was like 15 watts. And I played the Greases. It was the loudest, like cleanest thing ever. And I only had to like dial it in slightly and it sounded like that. I was like,
yeah. They're great.
have I not discovered this amp? It's and I looked them up, they're like, yeah, dude. So like, they're tube as well, and they only cost like $600 brand new.
Oh, I thought they were more expensive.
$600 second hand.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Brand new, I think they're like $1,200, but.
Yeah, they're really good.
I
I saw the guys from Richmond Fontaine. They did a duo show at the Black Bear.
Yeah.
And he was playing that, and I was like, oh my God, that guitar sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It was rich and full and
dude, it's that whole.
Because
I feel like that one, the low end and the deluxes are kind of a bit more powering than most amps. I feel. Do you get that, or like what?
Well, I found that the problem is the clean channel's a little unlively and a little generic and a tad dull sounding. Yeah. The dirty channel's so radically different that you can't really
blend
use
two.
them. You can't really switch because the dirty channel's great. It's really hot, mid-rangey channel, and it's actually lovely, but you can't use it because it's so different. Yeah, because when I use them, I always feel like the clean's just like it's like kind of like the low end, but with like a little bit mid. It's not that because I like trebly kind of sound amps, like it's
bright.
a little cardboardy. Actually, nice, but I've got a pedal on like more than 90% of the time. So it kind
is that
the Black Secret?
Yeah. So that's like just constantly going. Yeah, that's what like you used to go on YouTube, man. People like they get like EQ pedals and like boosts and put them through the back of the chain so it boosts the amp.
I've done the EQ pedal out of the effects. Before. Give it works? Like 500. Yeah. It's good actually. Yeah. It's really
that's what I want to do. You think like Fender would just bung that in there or do something to make it work like that?
And the other problem is the volume knob's really like.
It's like barely,
It's like you can't. It's not a straight line. It's really annoying. You've got to sit there and go.
It's like I try to use it at home and it's like 1 and a bit and then 2's like
absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So like you've had that for say 10 years?
Probably more, like 13, 14 actually.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Before that I had a Marshall combo, which is actually really growly and great, but too.
Yeah, just too full on.
Before that I had a couple of more stack kind of setups. Marshall and whatever,
Yeah, that's awesome. But so you're saying what speakers in the back of that again? Sorry.
Like it's a little Alnico speaker, so it's light.
Yeah. Okay. Did you put that in yourself?
No, it's just in there.
Oh, you just bought it like that. That's awesome.
Deluxe, funny, some kind of special model. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
which.
Because I haven't seen many whites. Like,
Yeah.
It's things like I think you and I think Phil's
Phil
got
Usher.
one.
Yeah.
Like they're the only ones
Yeah.
to see around. Yeah, awesome, man. That's fucking it's a nice rig. I dig it. Like it's like I like how messy it is. Like I know, sorry if that offends you, but I like how like crazy messy and like just straight up like muso, man.
I've actually spent hours getting it all tidy and organised.
The only thing I was gonna ask is, what advice do you have for musicians or guitarists today?
Where are you getting those questions from?
Oh, nowhere, mate. Nowhere at all.
Sorry, what was the question? What advice do
Pretty
I-
much like, what advice would you have for musicians or guitarists today? If they're starting out or even currently playing?
Let me think. Here's my advice, okay?
Yeah.
Get a ukulele.
That's right.
Yeah. Because I started playing ukulele like 6 months ago, and it's like, it makes me feel like prior to that, my guitaring was in a little tiny box,
Yeah.
and now it's in a huge hall, because
awesome.
it turns your understanding of chords, it destroys it.
Yeah, okay.
And it makes you understand how chords, like it makes me feel like I know shit about chords now, because the ukulele just kind of turns them all inside out somehow.
Yeah.
And I thought I was kind of all over my chords, I thought I was pretty
Yeah.
good. And the ukulele makes me go, oh my God, I'm like a child in the woods with the chords. I've got so much more to learn, and it's all amazing.
How long have you been playing that for?
6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're like starting to write stuff and do stuff?
A little, yeah. Just
awesome.
messing around at home, learning other people's songs, jamming with my girlfriend, and like, it's amazing. Like you play, because the high note's on top, like the high string's here.
Yeah, that's what confuses me about it. It's like
Yeah.
upside down, man. Like it kind of gets
And
me.
so
Same with banjo.
It's only half the time you've got a real root note in there.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time you're really running on the third
Yeah.
or whatever, and the notes within the chord. And it's amazing. Like it actually makes me listen to my old songs and go, what the fuck did I put a F there for? It should be like a, B flat or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it should be something different. It doesn't, like I go, oh damn it.
Yeah, you
so
just
many
like
times.
rewrite it all, release it all.
Yeah,
Ukulele cover on everything.
yeah.
Well, there you go. There's the advice from Tim. Play ukulele.
It's really a great thing to do.
All right, Tim. Well, yeah. So thanks for coming
Thanks,
in, man.
dude.
That's much appreciated. Oh, high five. All right. Yes. No, high five's way better than handshake. Man. Fucking thanks for coming in. And like,
No worries,
it's
thank
been
you.
awesome checking out your gear and talking about history and stuff.
Thanks.
Do you want to have a jam before we go?
Sure. Okay.
Sweet as.